Yes, the decision was made, 14 area school districts. Jefferson County is one of them.
Okay. And when I told you this last night, you sent me a one-word text that said devastated. Tell me about how you're feeling.
Yeah. Well, yesterday was not a day for me to be reflective or PC. um, we, as in the educators, found out as Jeffco community. It wasn't sent to us prior. All of us found out at the same time. Jefferson County put together an email that was released to the community. So we got a voicemail and an email and a text telling us to check our emails. And then my phone started to blow up because, you know, when you're a teacher, all your friends are teachers too. And all of a sudden my phone was just blowing up and I was still trying to teach. And so it was devastating. I was trying to think about words that I could use to explain something eloquent, something thoughtful. And the only way I can think about this is like the sudden loss of someone. That's the only way I can explain it. In the sense is that um, there's a lot of shoulda, woulda, coulda. In, for example, I wish I would have sent the kids with more supplies. I wish I would have told them this or that. I wish I had looked each of them in the eyes and told them that they would be taken care of. There's a lot of, I wish I would have done this. For example, I wish I would have sent them with all of their supplies. My classroom is sitting as if they were coming back to me after spring break. There are things in their desks, there are things in their cubbies. I wish I would have made a point on that last day to speak to each of them directly instead of saying, all right, guys, I'll see you after spring break, right? Because when we were released, it was the understanding that we would have the week off prior to spring break, and then we would come back.
Right.
And, you know, we had had such a hectic day on the 13th just with getting everything ready. There wasn't that one-on-one moment that I wish I could have had with the kids, because they're fifth graders. They are not going to be in the building next year. This is their transition year. So, and some of them I've had the fortune of having as fourth graders, which I don't know if it makes it easier or harder for us to cut ties. As you know, in your previous position, you got to still spend more time with kiddos and build relationships with them.
Right.
So when they were eighth graders and they transitioned to the high school, it was a harder transition or a harder goodbye, I guess you could say. I haven't spoken to the kids yet because the email came out at the tail end of the school day yesterday. We have PD, professional development days, on Mondays now, so we don't teach the kids on Mondays. So I would assume that by the time we meet as, say, a staff or as a team, we will have in mind how we're going to support the kids.
Wow. How you feeling? I mean, feeling.
You mean like emotionally?
Yeah.
There was a lot of crying yesterday. I treated myself to a Dr. Pepper, which I'm trying really hard not to do. And I drank the whole can. I just think that most educators are just, as I said yesterday, devastated. I find it really interesting too, because this is, as we've discussed before, the only career I've ever wanted or had. And so here I was told, like, I have no choice. I don't get to do my job. It's like being laid off, but not being laid off. And then I think, then, I take a step back and I quit playing my woe is me song because I think about like the teachers that are retiring this year, our seniors who don't get to graduate,
Right.
our kinders who don't get to put their little cap on and move on, do the ceremonial moving on to first grade. My fifth graders don't get to sign yearbooks.
Oh, that's right. Let's talk about the remainder of the year for you, Dana. How did this last week go, the virtual teaching, and what do you see for the rest of the year?
Um, we are committed to continuing the remote learning. Someone referenced it as not remote learning, not homeschooling. We're in crisis schooling right now. It's that when you do remote learning, like if a kiddo signs up for online learning, there's a really long process of planning curriculum. Kids have to check in at a certain time. There's face-to-face meetings. There's you sign a commitment to what you're going to do. Homeschooling, same thing. Parents spend countless hours looking at curriculum. They're thoughtful about what they're teaching, and basically, in the matter of moments, we were told, hey, you better be ready to roll something out to the kids. Now, don't get me wrong, there is a lot of planning. I probably have never worked harder because I can't do a turn and talk. I can't put kids in small groups. I can't pause and have them ask questions
Right.
because we can't ask all of our kids at the same time to be on computers because in some families, one computer is used for 4 kids.
Right.
So I can't do a quick mini lesson for our ELA, our reading writing unit, and expect everyone to show up.
So all the skills that you have to teach kids have to be rethought.
Yeah, I have to think about how can I put this in a recording? How can I put it on paper? How do I make it accessible? Because we still have kids who need extensions. We still have kids who need accommodations. We still have kids who are, bilingual. Those kids just didn't go away, and teaching still has to happen. So I will tell you, the week went well for what could be expected. I'm super fortunate. I have a very cohesive team. Um, you have met one of my teammates already. Um, we work incredibly well together. We have divided tasks and conquer. We're constantly modifying and being thoughtful and rethinking what we're doing, how we're presenting it, the feedback we're providing. We're in constant communication with the kids and their parents if they choose to be, right? Um, there's always like little glitches throughout the day. Um, but I think that there's a lot of grace being given at this point. And so the week went well. What we did notice is they were gangbusters on Tuesday. All but one fifth grader checked in, and then by the end of the week, it was like this. And I think probably when their parents had to tell them, hey, you still have 7 more weeks of this, the kids are probably now thinking, when the kids would say, oh, I hate school. I don't want to be here. I'd rather be at home. Well, voila, your wish is granted. And the kids are like, oh, this is awful. The whole grass is greener kind of thing.
Do you think there's a chance of some summer school?
In other words, are we going to ask the kids to come back for school?
That's the question.
I don't think contractually they can ask us because we are right now in Jefferson County, we're still working our contact hours, our contract, right?
Right.
We are still communicating and working with the kiddos every day. I think some hesitation, if I heard correctly, that they think the surge or the spike is going to be between mid-April and July. Holy smokes, could they give a wider range of time? And so what point would it be to offer summer school if we're really not going to see the biggest impact till this summer.
Wow.
Jefferson County has it where on Mondays, kids don't have any instruction or curriculum.
Okay.
That's our PD days. That will continue. I would assume those that have more power than me in the district are probably in constant conversation right now, even though it's the weekend. Because there are questions like, what about grades? What about evaluations? What about IEPs? And they have to respond to these situations they've never had before.
Right.
So I think it's definitely a learning curve. I don't wish to experience this again.
Right.
I don't want to go through this again. But if it were to happen again, I think we'd be way better at it. Hopefully we get in a rhythm. I mean, we are as much as we can be.
You don't want to do this for the rest of your career?
Oh, hell no. I do not want to be oh, you know what? If I had the prep time and the background like I do to be a teacher in the classroom, maybe, but to just be pulling, learning how to do something at 11:30 the night before so I can try it the next day.
Right.
No, thank you. No, thank you.